This is the end and the beginning, my friends, here today on Friday Night Meta. And what do I mean? The end of Murders at Karlov Manor and the beginning here soon of Thunder Junction. Thank you for tuning in today for our weekly episode here as we break down the meta for you across each of the formats, best of one, best of three. If you enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. On top of that, if you got a question, if you got a comment along the way, do let me know because I'd love to hear from you, and feel free to join us in our amazing Discord server, my friends. So like I said, this is the final snapshot that we'll be doing of Murders at Karlov Manor. Next week, we'll be covering the new and highly anticipated Thunder Junction. Super excited about that as always. Now, let's go ahead and work our way through each of these here and see where we ended. All right. So, as we said, here we go. Standard best of one, my friends. We actually have mono white humans at the top here by 0.4%. Boros Convoke has been definitely one of those key standard best of one. Lovely, love it or hate it decks as it comes to this particular format. And additionally, I would say probably Azor's Control, some of the new upgrades and those things. And last but not least, towards the end here, Teamer Rage. Now, a couple things about this, as we can see, Mono Red being the most played, Boros Convoke following that, Teamer Rage. We can see how these things have trended over time. Right there, there's the set release, the big pop in terms of that Convoke list, like I said, being one of those key ones out there. And then additionally, over time, we do see that Teamer Rage popping in. Hasn't done as well as it did initially out of the gate, just because as always some of the meta reacts and adjusts, and that's exactly what we saw happen. However, we do see, again, like I said, that Boros Convoke being one of those high big win rates. But let's go ahead and add that mono white humans list in, which was known pre Murders at Karlov Manor, and then here still just squeaked out towards the end. As it happens to be. Now, let's go ahead and look at Mythic here. Mythic, we do have Azor's Control at the top. So, like I said, another great list here. We do have Orzhov Amalia, Mono Green Aggro, followed by Boros Convoke and Teamer Rage. In terms of what's going on in standard best of one. All right, best of three. Here's what we got going on. Teamer Ramp, Boros Convoke, 5 Clear Domain, Esper midrange, Dimmer midrange, Golgari midrange, Mono Red Aggro, and Azor's Control. Here on the right, again, we see Dimmer midrange at the top. Very consistent, though, when you start to look at percent played across the board, which is pretty nice. It usually represents a nice competitive meta. Again, we see that nice jump in Boros Convoke out of the gate. We see that jump in Azor's Control. Here we see the rise, that Dimmer midrange there, really coming towards the back half of the set, as you can see. And then here's those win rates over time. A big pop in that 4-color domain in the last week. A lot of times these things move around at the beginning of our seasons as well, which makes a big difference. If we go to Mythic here, here's what we got at Mythic. We do see Teamer Ramp at the top, Dimmer midrange, Esper midrange, Boros Convoke, and Golgari midrange, my friends. So let's go all the way back. That closes out standard for us, one of the more impactful pieces when it does come to Murders at Karlov Manor. In Explorer here, we do have Abs Animalia, Selesnya Angels, Mono Red Aggro, Azor's Control, Rakdos Vampires, Boros Heroic, Izzet Phoenix, Mono Black Waste Not. Here on the right, we do see Rakdos Vampires at the most played, Abs Animalia there, and here you can see that big pop of Rakdos coming down here over time, trending down, similar to Izzet Phoenix. Things pretty steady Eddie when it comes to Abs Animalia there. We do see some rise up in Azor's Control, similar to that Mono Black Waste Not, and then here you go in terms of those win rates over time. Definitely Abs Animalia at the top, but we see these latecomers or middle of the season, I guess, in terms of Selesnya Angels and Mono Red Aggro, really popping up there, my friends. Now, when we go to Mythic here, we do not have enough players playing Explorer Best of One at Mythic. Let's go ahead and check out Best of Three when it comes to Explorer. We do have a new one here with Izzet and Soul, plus 4-color Quintorius, Abs Animalia, Azor's Control, Izzet Phoenix, Rakdos Vampires, Mono Black Waste Not, and Mono Green Devotion. Here on the right, you can see, again, fairly consistent in terms of that, but here you go. You can see it coming down. This turn come back up. At the beginning, we did have that Azor's Control kind of falling off. Here's that big pop and Izzet and Soul, like I said. Something newer into the meta in terms of what we're seeing here for Explorer Best of Three. Let's go ahead and dig into Mythic. Not enough, again, playing at Mythic right now. So that concludes Explore for us. Let's peek into Alchemy. Certainly this one has been mixed up and remixed when it comes to what's happening in Alchemy because of the set release, specifically for Alchemy. So here we do see Naya Convoke at the top, 5-color legends, mono red aggro, Azora soldiers, Esper control, Gruul burn in there, mono black midrange, Selesnya counters. And then here on the right, we do have mono red aggro, Naya Convoke. And you can see that everything else is fairly consistent between that 4.5, 2.5, mono red aggro at that top. Here's that popularity you can see. And again, that reset, set release, or change up, whatever you want to say in terms of Alchemy Murders at Karlov Manor. And then here you go. You see that rise of that Naya Convoke there. In terms of those win rates, mono red aggro doing pretty good. And then 5-color legends in there as well, in terms of what we're seeing for Alchemy Best of 1. At Mythic, nope, not enough there either. All right, best of 3 Alchemy. What's happening here? We do have Mardu Aggro, Naya Legends, Esper Control here on the right. Really Mardu Aggro, Naya Legends, and then there you go for Esper Control. You can look at the statistics there. And then as we look at Mythic, I'm going to say probably not, and that is correct. All right. So that concludes our Alchemy. We've now gone through Standard, Explorer, and Alchemy. It's time for us to move into Historic, my friends. Here in Historic, we do have Dimmer Ninjas at the top, mono red aggro, Is It Wizards, mono green devotion, mono black control, mono green elves, Dimmer Mill, mono white life gain. Here on the popularity, we do have Is It Wizards at the top by about 3x. Pretty tight, I guess 3 to 6% for the rest. Here you see that popularity over time, the impact with Alchemy as well. Is It Wizards? And then right at the end here, we do see that mono red aggro popping in there. When it comes to Historic Best of 1, we do need to add in that Dimmer Ninjas, so you can see that. Again, there you are, very close between these lists in terms of what's happening. And as we look at Mythic here, for this week, we do have 4-color Kethis in there, plus Is It Wizards, my friends. All right, so let's see what's going on in Historic Best of 3. Here for Best 3, we do have Is It Wizards as well. Abzan, Yawgmoth, Simic Merfolk, Boros Convoke, Azor's Control, Mono Green Devotion, Rakdos Midrange. Here on the right, dominated by Is It Wizards and Mono Green Devotion by quite a bit. Here you can see that popularity over time, definitely trending down. We do see that Azor's Affinity in there. Is It Wizards? Just not enough players on it. And Mono Green Devotion. And then again, when it comes to Mythic, we're going to say probably not. Yeah, we do have Is It Wizards in there. So is it Wizards, my friends? So that concludes Historic. Let's go back to Best of 1 here, and it is time for the Timeless, my friends. And in terms of Timeless, we have Rakdos Burn, Mono Green Titan, just squeaking out with Rakdos Burn there, 5-color Winata, 5-color Domain, Mono Black Vampires, 4-color Show and Tell, Grixis Shadow, and Mono Black Control. Here on the right, we do have Show and Tell at 22%, doubling number 2 and number 3, and then the rest fairly consistent there. Here we go in terms of what we have happening here. You can see that popularity again with Murders at Karlov Manor, making a pretty decent impact in terms of the Timeless meta, as you can see. Again, some changes, and then that Rakdos Burn squeaking out right at the top. Very close, though. Lots of things moving around, which is always good for us to see. And then when it goes to Mythic here, not enough at Mythic. Let's go ahead and see what's happening in Timeless Best of 3. Here for Best of 3, we do have Grixis Shadow, followed by 4-color Yawgmoth, Jund Midrange, 5-color Domain, 4-color Show and Tell, Mono Green Titan, Rakdos Burn, and then 5-color Domain here on the right. Heavily played between Jund and 4-color Show and Tell, 5-color Domain, and Grixis, quite frankly. And then again, with that Murders at Karlov set, you can see what we have going on here. Very tight between those two. And here we go also in terms of those win rates. A very, very close match nonetheless. Let's see what's happening in Mythic. Not enough information. So that, my friends, is all the Best of 1 and Best of 3 formats. It is now time for us to go take a peek at Historic Brawl this week. So Historic, what do you have in store for us here as we conclude Murders at Karlov Manor? We do have Ragavan, Nimble Pilfer at the top, Mythweaver Pog, Tajik, Voja, the Burst Sliver, Itali, Pantlaza, and Atroxa, my friends. You can see really 1.4 to 3%. Lots of players, lots of decks, lots of meta, as we like to say when it comes to the lovely Historic Brawl. All right, so here you can see that trending the Mythweaver Pog. Let's get a Ragavan in there so you can see where that is. There you go. Lelia is finally falling out. We did see that big pop there as well. And then here, lots of things still kind of moving around. If you see this, pretty tight though between Tajik, Ragavan, and Mythweaver. As you can see, we do also see Voja popping in there pretty aggressively, and a big nice spike there with Layla towards the end, along with the first sliver, but still pretty significant in terms of win rate difference, almost 10% there. So that, my friends, is Historic Brawl. Looking forward to seeing the new impacts here as we get a new set with Thunder Junction, and saying goodbye to Murders at Karlov Manor. With that, I hope you enjoyed today's episode and our weekly series here on Friday Night Meta. If you still got a question, if you got a comment, like what are your favorite cards, what are you most looking forward to, let us know, because we'd love to hear from you. And with that, thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate your support. Thank you for the likes and the subs as we continue to grow this amazing community here, as always. Now, feel free to join us in the Discord server, my friends, because we got a lot of fun and a great community there. And on top of that, thank you for that support. Thank you to all of our members. We do have affiliate links down below if you're looking for Thunder Junction cards, Murders at Karlov Manor, and many other things. Something there for everyone. On top of that, we got swag and merch. And don't forget our socials. At me, chat me, as I like to say. Let's stay connected. Let me know what you're playing. I love playing your lists and showcasing them here on the channel. With that, as always, once again, thank you. And get out there and enjoy the rest of Murders at Karlov Manor. And looking forward to Thunder Junction, because it's magic.